President Biden is dramatically overhauling student loan debt.
Yeah, his plan would forgive up to $10,000 for single students making less than $125,000, forgive up to $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients who tend to be poorer, and loan repayments would be capped at 5% of discretionary income. And the loan repayment deferral, by the way, extended through the end of the year.
So here to tell us what it could mean is attorney and student loan consultant Heather Jarvis. Heather, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning, Hazel. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
So let's just get down to it. I mean, is this for the good, all for the good right now?
It's very good news for a lot of students and families. Advocates such as myself would have liked to have seen a larger amount of loan forgiveness, but $10,000 or $20,000 is definitely a step in the right direction. And there are some other very good incentives laid out by the White House yesterday, including more oversight of some schools that have taken advantage of student loan programs, and also a new repayment plan that should help us going forward.
So is the forgiveness paperwork process, is it actually going to be easy for students to kind of navigate? How do you even know if you're eligible, right? Like if you have a Sallie Mae or a Navient loan, how do you know what qualifies and what doesn't?
You know, that can actually be quite tricky. Everyone should visit studentaid.gov, which unfortunately is not working quickly today or yesterday because of the intense interest. Exactly. And so there are records we can review at studentaid.gov to see whether we borrowed a Pell Grant, for example, to be eligible for the $20,000. But what we're understanding is that there will be an application process for people whose income information is not known by the Department of Education. And I'm concerned that that process is not going to be smooth. The whole system tends to be bloated and difficult to navigate.
Yeah, so it's not off to a good start. And of course, the program has critics from people saying that the plan's inflationary and it's going to cost the government hundreds of millions of dollars. What do you think about that?
Well, that's really not the case. These loan balances are, for the most part, uncollectible to begin with. We've developed this system of debt-based access to education, and so many students and families have to borrow amounts that then balloon by interest charges over the many years. And so the system and taxpayers actually spend way too much money trying to collect on small amounts, and it's really not useful from a policy perspective or an economic perspective. This will enable borrowers to get some relief while at the same time cleaning things up for taxpayers so that we don't have this big unwieldy program.
So there is something to be said. I've been looking on social media a lot, and some people are like, I just paid my student loans off a month ago, right? And it took 20 years for that to happen. So what about the argument that students knew what they were getting into when they were saddled with loans, right? And suddenly the taxpayers are the ones that have to pay for their college educations. You know, you always hear the phrase, life's not fair, but what's to be said here?
Well, you know, we used to have a lot more investment in education because we understand as a country that we need an educated workforce. So because the government has invested less and less in education over the years, we've really placed that burden very squarely on students and families. And that hasn't worked out especially well for us because people can't afford the high cost of college. So what we really need to do, and this is part of what these announcements are about, is continue to try to control the costs of college so that we don't put this on the backs of people who aren't able to cover it.
Yeah, I mean, it's discouraged a lot of kids straight out of high school to say, you know what, I'm just going to get to work right away and just skip college because I won't be able to afford paying for all of that debt. Now, you actually learned about the perils of college debt the hard way. Can you tell us about your specific experience?
Sure. I mean, my sister and I are both first-generation college educated, and we knew that education was our responsibility to contribute to society. But I didn't fully understand what the consequences of borrowing a lot of money for education would be. And I got a big fancy law degree from a law school and have been working and making payments successfully ever since. But for me, it's been, you know, some 30 years. And I don't have any grudge for people getting this relief today. They need it, it's appropriate, and it's going to help a lot of folks.
Yeah. And that's the bottom line, right? And here's the thing, though. There are 43 million debtors who are going to be affected by college debt. Does it affect one group more so than another?
You know, this relief is really going to be spread a lot around a lot of different kinds of people, a lot of people of different ages, young people, middle-aged people, and even older folks who have a tremendous amount of student loan debt. It's going to be mainly targeted to people who earn less than 75,000 a year, although those earning up to 125 can potentially receive this relief. So it's going to help a lot of different people, and it's definitely a step in the right direction. I think we need more loan forgiveness and less collection of these debts in general.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Heather Jarvis, thanks again for being with us this morning. We appreciate your insight.